you could join us. I'm Annette Sherman. This is Community. I think that I remember first hearing about the Junior League when I probably was young enough to become a member. And when I spoke to people about the Junior League, they all thought, well, this is not a group that you want to be in because they're a group that's so haughty and they're a group that's so self-taken with themselves and their importance. Well, as time went by, I was sorry that I didn't ever get to join the Junior League because I had them on my television program several times in various other locations. And I really felt that they are one fantastic organization and a bunch of usually very attractive women doing a lot of very difficult jobs, a very difficult work, and accomplishing enormous feats. And they do it kind of quietly. And some of you probably say, well, they really don't do it quietly because we hear about them all the time. Well, you can't help hearing about them because they're involved in so many things. But I think after you meet my two guests today, you'll realize just how much Junior League does do to help our community and offer their time and energy, expertise, intelligence, whatever, to all of these many causes. And I, for one, cheer Junior League. Long may you wave, beautiful women. Long may you wave, Junior League. My guests, guess where they're from? Junior League. Let me introduce them. Let's start with Britt Reiner. Now, Britt is a good place to start because she's right at the top of the Sarasota Junior League. She's president. And we don't have a president currently that pretty, but that would be nice if we did. Britt Reiner is president of the Sarasota Junior League. Okay, we'll talk more about Britt in just a moment. Amy Sakis. Amy is the community vice president. And we're going to find out just what that means. In other words, if she walks out of the community boundaries, she no longer is vice president. I think she continues to be vice president. She's just not, well, we'll find out from her. That's why she's here. Okay, let's start by finding out about Britt and Amy, about your background, Britt. Tell us about yourself.
Well, Annette, I'd like to begin first by saying thank you for having the Junior League of Sarasota on your show.
My pleasure.
I have the privilege of growing up in Sarasota, Florida. I was born and raised in this wonderful town. I attended our public school system, and it was because of that excellent education I received here and the philanthropic efforts of many volunteers that I was able to win a full tuition scholarship to Duke University.
No, I'm going to disagree with you for the first time of many probably in the show.
Okay.
I don't mean that I want to take a different opinion, but I think there's another aspect of that that should be known. You got the scholarship, and I don't have to even know more about it, not just because you're beautiful, not just because you have friends, not just because you're a nice person, but you qualified intellectually, academically for what they required, and you met the standards that they established. So that I don't think you can be grateful to the world. And I think that's lovely of you to feel that way. But what an amazing thing to get a full scholarship to such a fine university. You mentioned or didn't mention that part of your education, earlier education here in Sarasota included some interesting schools. Tell about those.
I attended Gosio Elementary for kindergarten and first grade, and Pine View for 2nd through 12th grades.
Good start. Duke University was wonderful. You enjoyed it. And then what?
I moved to Washington, D.C.
Why?
I took a job working for a large management consulting firm where I advised the Department of Defense. My clients were the Air Force and the Army.
Okay, so right away you were thrust into a world where you had responsibility and you were going to use that education perhaps a little more significantly than most people who get out of college. I couldn't wait to get out. I want to relax. I don't want to do anything. You were eager to do it. Tell me a bit about your parents.
My mother and father are great inspirations to me. My mother was a special education teacher in Sarasota for 34 years, and she taught me that every child can learn, and every child learns differently. It's the teacher and the parent's job to learn how. My father served in the armed forces. He was a Green Beret during Vietnam and is actually a disabled veteran now as a result of his service. So it was really my parents' combined life work that motivated me to work hard in school and then informed the type of work that I wanted to take when I graduated from college.
They must be very proud of you.
I hope so. Thank you.
Now, you are married.
I am.
Tell me a little bit about the guy that you are married to.
I have the opportunity to be the other half of Noah Reiner. He is the current CEO of Neuro International, which is a brain injury rehabilitation company here in Sarasota. They provide services to people that are recovering from brain injuries and have suffered very difficult life circumstances, but he loves the work because it shows the dignity of the individual no matter what their capability is at that moment. He is also a officer in the Navy. He serves in the Navy Reserve. Yes.
And you have one beautiful little girl, and she can't be other than that. I haven't seen your husband yet, but I asked you earlier if she looks like you, and you said yes, I guess that she does. So she's winning that game. And then you are, as we speak, incubating, and you know it's going to be a little boy, but you don't know his name yet, and you're working on that. So we're taking all suggestions for Britt Reiner's son. Just get some help from the outside, you know. Rob is not going to be a name that we're going to use, because there is a Rob Reiner, and he's very successful, but we can't duplicate. Well, we can duplicate that, but I don't think you want to. At any rate, so that brings us up to speed pretty much. How wonderful it is to see young people such as Britt and Amy. Well, we'll talk more about the organization and what they do, because I don't know how they manage to do all of that in one day. The things that they cram into an average 24 hours, being a significant part of Junior League. We'll get back to you in a moment or two, Britt. Okay, Amy, same questions. Tell about Amy, where you're from, your education, your parents, anything you want to tell us.
Sure. Well, thank you for having us on the show. I was born and raised actually in Western New York, just south of Buffalo, where they're getting a ton of snow, I believe, right now. And growing up there, I did ski, we did snowmobile, but I hated walking to the school bus in the snow. Your hair would be frozen. And I always said, I'm moving.
Nothing worse than frozen hair.
No. And I always said, I'm going to live in Florida. I always said that. So.
And they thought this little child was disturbed, because I asked her a question, and she said, I'm going to live in Florida. But she's very cute, so we'll allow that disturbance to continue.
Yes. So born and raised there, went to Canisius College, which is a small Jesuit college in Buffalo, New York, where I met my husband. He's also from Buffalo.
And he also wanted to go to Florida. He didn't.
We didn't know that at the time, but yes, he did. So, so we were lucky enough to travel after we were married. My husband is a former professional basketball player, so we lived in Italy.
Because you're tall.
I am.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'10", but he's 7'1". Yes, he's very big.
Don't be mean to her. Tell your husband to be nice to them.
That's
right. Right.
But he's the biggest teddy bear. He's a sweet man. So.
I was traveling in show business one day, and we were up in, I don't remember what city we were in, so many years ago. And I went down to the bar, and I was going to meet my friends who were in the cast. And I walked in, I thought I died and went to heaven. The whole basketball team at that time was there, and they were so friendly and so wonderful. But I was 5'8", so if I wore high heels, I'm tall.
Right.
And these boys, one was taller than the other, and they were sweet and fun, and Just wonderful. So you had the luck to meet this wonderful basketball player?
I did, and he played for Kobe Bryant's team in Italy. So we lived in Milan, we lived in Belgium, and we lived in Istanbul, Turkey. So we had a great time. No mortgage, no kids. We just enjoyed life. And when that chapter was over, he had an injury. We moved to Florida, and we said, we don't know anybody. We didn't have jobs. We just moved here. And
But Sarasota, what made you choose that?
Great question. My in-laws, they live part-time here and part-time in New York. And actually, my husband's grandmother owned a house in Venice, right on the water. Just, the little tiny house. Sold it, which the family wishes they would have bought it because it was right on the beach, but oh well. So they had a history here. And when my in-laws were looking for a place to go, they knew Sarasota and Venice very well. So they moved here first, and we followed, and we love it.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. But you were here, you were born and raised here, so you just lucked out altogether.
Yeah.
Okay, big question. Now, it sounds to me like both of you had pretty ideal early lives with wonderful families that you speak highly of and educations that you also speak highly of. And now you're out in the world, you're married, and how did you connect with Junior League? Britt?
Going back to my experience receiving a scholarship, even though I worked hard to earn it, it was actually funded by Bill and Melinda Gates, who are great philanthropists, as most people know in the United States. And understanding that it was the combination of my hard work with their ingredient as well, I wanted to continue to find a way to model their example and take my hard work and combine that with the hard work of other people to bring even more good in the community. As I moved around quite a bit, I'm from Washington, D.C., I moved to California, later on to Kentucky. When you move a lot, it's very hard to build a community. And I do believe that part of the human condition is to want to know and be known. And the way that we really live our fullest is when we are known and are knowing others. And as I looked around for ways to plug into one's community, I knew I wanted to be a part of a church, but that too was a smaller group of people. I really wanted to connect with the wide range of our community. And I found the Junior League. One of the things that makes the Junior League so special for this is that we are an international organization. We are in 4 countries. We have 271 leagues in all 50 states. And so really, wherever you move in the country, and sometimes in the world, you can find a large group of women who are interested in knowing you and knowing the community.
I've been told that before by leaguers, that there is a friendship activity, because basically, at this point in league, later on when you get to be a retainer, is that what it's called?
Sustainer.
Okay. That's another whole kind of thing. Maybe we'll do a program with them as well. I won't be so envious as I am right now looking, and I'm not envious. I just think it's wonderful. I can't stop smiling because I don't have a daughter, but I wish I did. Anyway, it's wonderful. That aspect of it is another wonderful, the friendship that happens of women who are of like nature, who also want to give back to the community, who also are hardworking, who also are highly educated, who also are probably married, maybe with 1, 2, or 3 little ones. So that aspect is not really thought of it. All the good deeds are. Tell me why Junior League for you, Amy?
Sure. So as I mentioned, when my husband and I moved here, we didn't know anyone. So similar to Britt's comment, someone told me, well, maybe you should check out the Junior League. And I said, what is that? And I didn't know Junior League.
Let me take back the part that's well-educated and smart.
Well, in my little town where I grew up, there was no such thing. I had heard of it in Buffalo, but where I grew up in a small farming town. So the idea of charity and giving back was something that I was taught through church and going to a Catholic school.
Your family,
but not in the way that Junior League, does it. It's very efficient and amazing. So I went to a meeting. I was brought. You're allowed to, come see a meeting, and I looked around the room and I was like, this is someplace I feel like I belong. And so I joined pretty much right as soon as we moved here.
Well, I think that is what happens probably to most of the leaguers that want to stay and want to make an imprint. In other words, move on to community vice president or president, and because that's a tremendous amount of responsibility. I'm looking at some of the notes that I received from these ladies, and I see that you had, or it's not, maybe it's not uncommon, 700 women in the Sarasota.
Yes.
And then you've got indoctrination, you call it something else, meetings, where there are hundreds more where you just can't. Why? Well, it's what we're talking about, but I somehow feel those virtues are not as existent as they used to be. But apparently I'm wrong, because you're getting these large numbers of women who want very much to do what you're doing.
I think the mission of the Junior League is very attractive to women in a variety of life stages. Our mission is to promote volunteerism, develop the potential of women, and improve the community through the leadership and effective action of trained volunteers. That three-pronged mission really speaks to many different desires in a woman's heart, whether she's single or married, with children, without children, working full-time, part-time, or keeping the home. This understanding that we all can learn, that we all have something to contribute to our community, that our community does have difficult problems and it takes everyone to contribute to solving them, and to understand that there are some issues that neither private business or government can fully address, and it takes a caring, committed individual to tackle that issue.
I'm delighted there is such a thing as League of Women Voters. I was thinking of League of Women Voters because I have been a member of League of Women Voters, Junior League, and I started to say, then the thought got combined, that the only association of that type that I had was League of Women Voters, and they had a purpose different than yours, but nevertheless they had a purpose that appealed to me.
Yeah.
And right now, at this stage of my life, I am living the Junior League thinking, because I am president and founder of Community Video Archives. I take no salary and no remuneration, and I work my lower posterior off, and I love it because it's meaningful to me, and what I'm doing is meaningful and will be generations to come.
Absolutely.
And I think this is the way, if I'm interpreting what you're telling me, you feel, and the women who join, and you had women coming in to be part of Junior League, and you had, did you say 700?
We are 700 women strong, spanning 80 decades of life. And I think one of the things that also makes the Junior League so special is we are a bipartisan organization. We actually take no political affiliation, but what I love is we do have women across the aisle who might vote differently, but spend their mornings, afternoons, evenings, and weekends working together, which doesn't always happen in today's polarized society.
Now, I want to give, and I think you have it in the control room, a telephone number and website. Do you have it in the control? Oh, good, it's on the screen now. I think my purpose in inviting Junior League to come on this program is just what we've been doing, making known that this is not just a bunch of pretty women who get together and waste time and kill time. No. They get together and they function in a very real capacity in helping children. And I've got lots of pictures. I don't know that we're going to have time for them, ladies, but I want to get to it because I want that number on the screen. 993?
941 953-5600. Anyone interested can join, no matter what their current age is. We have members joining who are in their 20s and in their 60s.
Okay, very good. And I would suggest that I assume that that telephone number is functional in terms of reaching a live person during business hours.
Yes.
Correct.
And then they will probably reach an answering machine. So I'm going to suggest to you, those of you who would like to find out more and like to become part of this group, is to check with their email. You check with their website. And the website is there for you 24 hours a day. So if you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, gee, I was thinking about that junior league group, I really would like to know more, just go to your computer. And at any time of the day or night, you can find out more and then get back in touch with them. I've had them on my program several times over the years, and I've been on the air for 40 some odd years. The fact is that they are a marvelous group. They work very hard. They're very dedicated, and I have yet to meet a junior leaguer who wasn't. I'd say, well, I must have met the creme de la creme. Nuh-uh. All the junior leaguers that I have met have been extraordinary people, extraordinary women, well-educated, charming, and basically very attractive. So they have a lot to be proud of, and what they do in our community, they should even be prouder of. We have those pictures, but I'm afraid we may not have time. Do we have time to? Well, let's start seeing them. The pictures are going to come up. Take turns telling what the pictures are. Would you, ladies?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, first picture. What do we see here, Britt?
We are organized into 4 councils: communication, finance, membership, and community. This is our community council you see here at work with our service projects. We love helping other nonprofits get better at what they do. So here you can see our members building wheelchair accessible garden boxes.
Next, we seeing what is this a continuation of what they're doing?
This is really showing you that our members are not afraid to get our hands dirty, and they
Okay,
are very skilled.
you see what I mean. Okay, are you telling me something about Lucy is my floor manager? Her microphone?
Just look at her.
Okay. And the next picture we're seeing is what?
So this is part of our signature project, which is Hunger Outreach. We work with All Face Food Bank. So this is showing you some of the food drives that we do throughout the year. Hunger has no season. You will often hear that statement. And it's so true. There are many hungry children in this community. So we focus on that as our major effort. And we've donated over 3,000 pounds of food to All Face just since August. In addition to that, we've packed over 5,000 meals. We've given out nearly 200 slow cookers, part of an education class that we do.
By and large, Amy and Britt, the women who are part of the Sarasota Junior League, by and large, have jobs.
Right, most.
Is there a figure that you can give me? 80%?
85% of our women work full-time, yes.
Okay, so that I think makes it even more extraordinary because they probably have families, they're taken care of, they've worked all day, they want to do more, they want to give more, and that's what they're doing.
I think our members understand that over 50% of public school children in Sarasota County are on free and reduced lunch. And I know Amy and I both cannot imagine what it would be like to turn to our child and tell them we cannot feed them if they were hungry. So even though we have worked long days and we have families to care for, we also want to help women and with their children. So we are women and children helping women and children.
I tell you, it sometimes when you hear wonderful things like that, and I can understand why I knew why when I invited you on, Junior League gets together and why they do what they do. and what motivates them. It's very simple. It isn't very difficult to understand. They have feelings, and I think women are more, it's more typical to find women with the sensitivity of Junior League because they are the mothers, they are the caregivers, and they are the people that manage the families and the people who care a great deal. And it's only proper, right and proper, that Junior League is a women's organization and goes on to do these wonderful things. I appreciate what you do, and the community I know appreciates what you do. Maybe some new people who didn't know beforehand will know now. You can get in touch with them. I don't know what happens with all of these people, Britt. Do they make it, or do you have rejects?
We take members first come, first serve. So if you have an interest in serving in the Junior League, we just ask you to contact us right away. Every year we bring in 50 new members during the summer, but we cap that class at 50 women because we are very serious about making sure we train our members on how to be effective volunteers, as well as informing them on the history of the league. This league is 60 years old. Amy and I have the privilege of reaping where our founders have sown. 60 years ago this year, 16 women got together.
6-0?
16.
Oh, 16, I thought that's what you said.
16 women got together and said, we need to do something for this town. Yes, we have government. Yes, we have businesses starting up, but there's a gap here, and we can fill it. We're very proud that our founding president, Sue Bissell, is still with us today and is serving constantly as an inspiration to us 60 years later.
Time went so quickly, Britt and Amy. We're out of time. Continue. Keep on keeping on, beautiful women, because you're doing a lot of good for a lot of people. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time. I do want to mention that April the 24th this year is our Community Video Archives Luncheon, and that's at Michael's on East Ballroom. Call me, 365-7052, 365-7052. I answer the phone myself, and sometimes people hang up. Either they don't want to talk to me or they have the wrong number. No, most of the time they don't hang up. Please call me and see if we can get reservations. We've been sold out every year since inception. We're out of time. Thank you, lovely ladies,
Thank you so much.
Amy
Thank you,
and
Annette.
Britt.
Thank you.
Bye-bye for now.
The time really flew. We bid you adieu from community. If you want to know why we love it here, so check out Community. Well, it's a who's who, a what's, when, and where show. It's a mover and shakers who care a show. Meet your